Dear students, dear viewers, I am Dr. Hoffman and this is our video workshop. Welcome and subscribe. If you have questions, ask in comments under the video. Enjoy! Price, quantity, and elasticity.
But for the sake of, say, an AP Economics, Microeconomics course, this would be sufficient. So let's think about our price elasticity of demand as we go from point A to point B. Well, remember, that's just going to be our percent change in quantity over our percent change in price. So what is our percent change in quantity? Well, we're starting at a quantity of...
So what is our percent change of quantity when I change the price from 9 to 8?
So we have 2 over 2. Multiply that.
You see the price changes from...
We have 100% change in quantity over... Now what was the...
And I need the percentage change, so it means...
So our corresponding percent change in price, our initial price is 9.
The change is 2, you see, in quantity and 1 in price. So I take this 2 over 1 half.
Cancel out. This is just a 1. 1 over negative 1/9 is just going to be equal to
1/9, sorry.
So you have a negative 9 price elasticity.
Which is completely
Before I interpret that more, let's look at the price
minus 9.
at other points, or starting from other points.
So for different prices, from 1 to 9, there are steps 2, 4.5, 5.5, 8 and 9. And now for 9 I have two pieces bought. For 8 I have 4 pieces bought by consumers. By 5.5 it's 9 pieces. By 4.5 it's 11 pieces. By 2, so the price $2 for example is 16 pieces. And by price $1 I will buy 18 pieces. It's the most attractive price for me. And now I'm calculating the first point, so we can speak about point A. Let's go to the other one. So from this one to this one, the change is 1 in price.
And what is our percent change in price? Well, our initial price is 2.
And the change in quantity is 2.
So we have a price change of negative 1 times 1. And so what you see here is this is 1/8 100%.
So what to calculate is 2/16. 62 and original value 16 over minus 1 original value 2, which is price elasticity negative 0.25, and here it was minus 9. You see that price elasticity of demand is changing in different points. Here you go from this point A to the point B. It was elasticity minus 9. And if you go from the point E to F, you have minus 0.25, so different elasticity.
Our initial prices and quantities would have been different. Our initial price that can give you a more elasticity.
So this is how to calculate price elasticity of demand, and now we interpret what we did. You remember that price elasticity of demand in absolute value can be less than 1, and then it's inelastic, or it's more than 1, it's elastic, or it's 1, it's unit elastic. If you go from A to B, the absolute value is 9, it's more than 1, and we can say in this part of the curve between points A and B, the elasticity is elastic. And if we are in between the points E and F, it was minus 0.25, it is then in absolute value less than 1. The elasticity between these 2 points was completely inelastic. We can say the slope is like that, relatively inelastic. Elastic or relatively elastic, the slope is like that. And unit elastic, the curve looks like that. There are also 2 more positions. And they are perfectly inelastic demand, inelastic, and the price elasticity of demand is 0. And if price elasticity of demand is infinity, then it looks like that. It will be percentual change in quantity demanded
We're going to think about the percent change in income
over percent change
people who might be in the market.
in income.
So normally you would expect that when our percent change in income goes up, that the same thing would happen to our percent change in
We expect that if the income change grows,
as my income goes up, as most people's income
then
goes
also
up,
quantity demanded grows.
application. And that would be a normal good.
This is the situation for normal goods.
What you would expect. But you could actually have the other way around. You could imagine a situation where even though you have an increase in your percent change
Of course,
in income,
there exists
it
situation
does not lead to an increase in your percent
when you have increase in income,
decrease in the percent change
you will have decrease
quantity demand.
in
Or another way of thinking
quantity.
about it, your quantity demanded could actually go down
And this is the situation
a negative percent change right over here.
which we call negative percent change.
Well, imagine if we're talking about the market for car mechanic services. As people have more income, they might be able to afford better cars that are more reliable, that break down less.
For example, people will buy more when they have more income, more expensive cars, and they less demand the reparation as a service.
That is known as an inferior good.
And we say that these reparations are inferior goods.
You don't just have to think about price elasticity.
Those goods you don't like to buy.
There are other types of elasticities. But just to hit the point home on income elasticity, let's look at a few examples. So we're told, suppose that when people's income increases by 20%,
Suppose now that people's income increases by 20%,
fast food B. Pause this video and think about it. Well, their income is increasing, but their demand is
and they buy
so that's the situation.
10% less,
Is an inferior good. Inferior good. And for kicks, what is the income elasticity of demand right now?
and we ask now, was fast food.
Income elasticity of demand is just going to be our percent
In this situation, what type of good would fast food be?
quantity demanded divided by
You see, it is typically in this green field, so we can call fast food inferior good because the quantity
income, which
goes down when income rises.
income went up by
So inferior good.
in this example. And what happened to our quantity demand? Well, it went down by 10%, so negative 10%. And so here you have an income elasticity of demand of negative 1/2 or negative 0.5. Let's do another example. Suppose we knew that when people's income increased by
And what is the elasticity? So the income elasticity of demand is our second question. Income elasticity of demand becomes EIT, income elasticity of demand. How to calculate this? This was the percentage change of quantity demanded based on percentage change of income. So you know that income increase was 20% and the change was minus 10%. So it will be minus 0.5. So with this inferior good, you have a negative elasticity of demand. Suppose we knew that when people's income increased by 5% in the country, so income increased at 5% now, we demand healthcare increased by 10%. It's healthcare. So the first question, what kind of good do people consider healthcare? And then, of course, calculate the elasticity. So we had inferior good, where you see the green field, normal good, where you see the purple.
Let's see, when our income increases by 5%, 5% increase in income,
And the elasticity,
healthcare increases by 10%. Our demand for healthcare increases by 10%.
Income elasticity of demand was 10% change of quantity over 5%, which equals to 2. It's positive. That's why it is a normal good. Elasticity of demand. So it tells us how much price change in one good changes the price change in another good. We have airline tickets. The airline one has price 1000, quantity 200. Airline 2 price 1000 and quantity 200. What happens? Airline 1 increases the price to 1050, very small increase in price. We don't have to say, okay, $50 on top of $1,000, that's a 5% price increase. That's what we would do in kind of everyday thinking. If you said you went from $1,000. You see, this is a 5% change in price. That is a $50 increase on the base of 1,000, or that is a 5% increase. When we think about elasticities, because we want to have the same percent change between. And now we are finding for percent change between 1,000 to 1,050. So that gives us a change of 50 divided by 1025 is equal to, let's say roughly price. The price went up by 50 for the which point as the base. So the percent change in this scenario, which point should be the base for percentage change.
I'll write it in quotes because it's a little bit different than what we do in traditional mathematics when we think about percent changes. Is you had a 50 change in price. Your price went up
50 is change in price.
And on our base, we will use 1025, which is the average of 1,000.
And the average.
And so that gives us
between those two.
Gives us a change of 50 divided by 1025 is equal to, let's say roughly 4.9.
It's 50 divided by 1025. It's roughly 4.9%.
Put that increase in quotes because we're using it on the average. And we do that so that if we said it was 1050 to 1,000, it would still be a 4.9% decrease using this same idea, using the midpoint as the base. Now, when that happens, you know, everyone today, they use these travel sites and compare prices, and people hit the grow. And this quantity demanded.
And people don't buy anything by this price. So the new quantity demanded is 0.
So what was the percent change in quantity for airline 2 right away?
And it changes the quantity of airline 2 of a competitor, which rises up to 400.
And our base, we want to use the average of
The percentage change of quantity
so this is approximately 67%.
is about 200
Elasticity of demand for
over, again, 400 plus 200 divided through 2, which is 200 over 300, which is about 67%.
The percent change in the quantity demanded for A2 tickets, which is 67%.
And now cross elasticity of demand.
But in A1 price change, that's what we call it cross elasticity. We're going from one good to another. Over. So that's roughly, well, let's just say for simplicity, roughly 5%.
Is the percentage change in quantity over percentage change in price, which is 67% over 4.9.
Divided by 5%, you get roughly 13.4. So this is approximately 13.
So approximately
So you have a very high cross elasticity.
13.4.
Increase this maybe by $5, you might have had the same effect. And so you would have had a very large number.
Which is a very large number, much larger than 1.
Because these things are near perfect substitutes. The way that we set up this problem.
You see that these airport 1 ticket, airport 2 ticket are, or airlines tickets are substitutes. Nearly perfect substitutes.
Substitutes for each other, like this example right here. The cross elasticity of demand approaches infinity. It gets higher and higher and higher. In theory, these are really identical. Even if you raise this a penny, people say, well,
Then the cross elasticity of demand turns to infinity.
And notice, this was a positive. When we just did regular price elasticity of demand, the only way that you would increase quantity for a traditional good, the way you would increase quantity was by lowering price. But here we raised price on a substitute.
We raised price of substitute, and we raised demand of A2 product.
But you could have things in other, you could have that negative relationship using cross elasticity. This is the example of a substitute.
This was the example of substitute. We have also another examples.
So what if we're talking about, if we're talking about ebooks?
What about ebooks, for example?
I have some type of an ebook, and the current quantity demanded in a given week, is 1,000. Let's say that the price of an e-reader that you would need for my ebook,
and
current price for an e-reader,
cross elasticity to e-reader.
Well, let's say that price of the e-reader goes down from $100 to
If the price of e-reader goes down from 100 to 80,
well, what's going to happen to my ebook? Just even
euros.
Assuming its price does not change, well then the quantity demand for my ebook will go up. So let's say the quantity demand for my ebook
And quantity demanded. My ebook goes from 1,000
so I don't even know what the price for my ebook is, but at a given price point, the quantity demanded will go up. So this goes
to 100 more, 1,100, because there was a price shift down.
Like we're used to seeing for regular price elasticity. And when you do calculate, remember, you want to do your percent price change in,
and again we need a percent change
ebook quantity,
in ebook quantity,
change in e-reader price. And the other thing you have to remember, you don't just take negative 20 over 100, you take negative 20 over the average of these two. Elasticity context. So this right over here, pause it and try to do it yourself.
so percent change in quantity over percent change
over 90,
in price.
And this value right over here is going to be plus 100 over the average of these two. So the average of those two,
which is minus 20 over 90 in the case of price,
so this is 100
and
divided by 10,
100
which gets you to
over 1,050,
9.5% change in quantity demanded from my book.
the
And then this
case of quantity. And now we get
there is negative 20
negative change in price, so it will be also negative
a drop of 0.2%. So if you divide the numerator by the denominator, it's 0.95
CD value
divided by negative 0.2222 there, and you get negative 0.43.
0.43.
And this makes sense. If you lower the price of an e-reader, this complement product, a product that goes along with my ebook, it increases the demand. So you just like you get with price.
You see, these products, ebook and e-reader, were complements.
Two unrelated products. So let's say that I have basketballs, and the price of basketballs goes from,
Their elasticity is small and negative.
what's going to happen to my ebook? Well, my ebook's not going to change. It's going to stay at $1,000. Basketballs. And the price of basketballs goes from, let's say they go from $20 to $30.
So we will have basketballs
It's going to change. It's going to stay at $1,000. So my percent change in
and ebooks.
in the quantity demanded of my ebook is going to be 0.
Two completely different products. Basketballs price goes from $20 to $30. Quantity demanded in ebooks stay this 1,000.
So for unrelated products where the price change in one of them does not affect the quantity demanded in the other, it makes complete sense that you have a 0 cross elasticity of demand. If they're complements, you would have a negative cross elasticity of demand. And if they're substitutes, you would have a positive one. And the closer the substitutes they are, the more
1,100.
elasticity of demand. So far, we've been focused on the elasticity of demand for only one class, or whatever.
Which was some 40% change.
Whatever that is, 30 over 25, that'd be or 5, it would be a 10 over 25, I should say.
Which is
Sorry, which is a 40% increase. So
10.
0 over 40%, which equals 0. So for unrelated
Over 25. price, change, and the quantity, which is about, let's calculate this, 30 over 20.
It would be a 10 over 25, I should say. Sorry, which is a 40%.
It's 40% increase in price.
Zero. So for unrelated
And here I will do the zero change in quantity of ebooks, because the price change in basketballs, about 40%, doesn't influence the quantity change of ebooks. Those products are not related together. Percent change of quantity is 0% here. And we should calculate now the CED, so cross elasticity of demand, for these two products. We had already in the first example airlines, which were substitutes. We have here in the B example, or in the second example, we had e-readers and e-books, which were complements. And in the third example, we have basketballs and e-books, which are with zero elasticity, no complements, no substitutes. They are just independent goods.
And if there's substitutes, you would have a positive one. And the closer the substitutes they are, the more positive your cross elasticity of demand is going to be. $10 to $30. 5% change in basketballs, which would be zero. So for unrelated products where the price,
so we can say these are unrelated products.
If they're complements, you would have a negative cross elasticity demand. And if they're substitutes, you would have a positive one. And the closer the substitutes they are, the more positive your cross elasticity demand is.
Because the CED is 0 over 40, which is 0.
So you will probably be wondering, can we think about elasticities of the supply would be 10 gallons per week? And let's say that if the price goes to $2,
supply elasticity.
the price goes to $2, the quantity supplied goes to 16 gallons per week. So what is the elasticity of supply?
So here I have a price shift from $1 to $2.
Change in quantity supplied.
What is the percent change of quantity supplied from 10 to 16 pieces of production?
Well, we went from $1 to $2. So this part right over here.
We calculate it like ES, elasticity of supply, is the percent change in quantity supplied over percent change in price.
So instead, the convention when we think about elasticities is use the midpoint of these two, use the average of them.
1 plus 2 is 3 divided through 2 is 2, so I will do the percent change of price. It's 1 over 1 plus 2 divided by 2, which is 1 over 1.5, which is 67%. And in quantity, from 10 to 16, we have plus 6. Over 10 plus 16 divided through 2, 6 over 13. And we have 46% increase in quantities supplied.
So we can see it's going to be 40. Our elasticity of supply is going to be 46% over 67%. So it's going to be something less than 1.
It's going to be something less than 1 if I divide 46 through 67.
Forever gives us the 0.69. This gives us an elasticity of supply of 0.69. We're going to say that's approximately 0.69, which tells us that we get a smaller percent, at least at this price point right over here, we get a smaller percent change in quantity supplied than our percent change in price. Now let's think about, like we did with when we thought about the elasticities of demand.
Which is less than 1.
So let's think about a scenario that is inelastic, that may be perfectly inelastic. So let's say that price,
and we interpret it as inelastic demand. Inelastic supplies.
Take me, for example. I make videos. I love making videos. This is what I want to spend my money doing. And I don't care how much you pay me or how little you pay me. I guess if you pay me enough, that would pay me. I spend a little bit more time. But let's just assume that I don't. I'm completely, whether you pay me a penny a video, videos after, they're inelastic.
How does the supply look like? You can have scenarios.
Now you have the other scenario where you're a farmer and you can either do crop A,
There is
corn and wheat.
supply like that, the so-called perfectly inelastic supply.
To produce one or the other. So in that situation, let's say that the price of wheat per, let's say we're using comparable units. So the price of wheat is, adjusting for units and all of that, let's say $10 per bushel or something like that.
And you can also have a scenario where the supply is perfectly elastic.
And so if let's say corn is right at $10, and it's right at $10, and they're both at $10, I will produce. So price of corn is $10, which is 2,000 to 0, and then all my production to wheat, and I wouldn't see supply changes in price. Now, the cool thing about elasticity of supply is it's actually much easier to make a curve that has unit elasticity, or even
perfectly elastic supply curve.
Elasticity, the easiest curve I can draw, and the reason why it works in this case is because it's up.
And in the middle, you have so-called unit elasticity.
So at any point here, the two are going to be proportional. So a given change in quantity,
proportional change
they're going to represent
between quantity and price.
As price is increasing, well, this is we have large price or we have medium price.
We call this
when you have large price,
unit elasticity.
Large quantity. So these steps are going to be the same percentage of either one of them. You have small prices, you have small quantities. And so it's much easier to construct a curve, a supply curve that has unit elasticity than it is
this case, elasticity of supply is 0. In this case, elasticity of supply is infinity. And in this case, elasticity of supply is 1. If the supply is inelastic, less than 1, the supply looks like that. And if the supply is elastic, more than 1, it looks like that. So this is elastic and inelastic. Supply. It's time to say goodbye for the moment. Thank you for your attention and don't forget to subscribe. Write me suggestions for improvement in the comments below, or alternatively, what you like best in the video. Have a nice day and give me likes.